Afternoon folks, Uncle signing into CastingsWeatherWatcher.com. Today I'll be bringing you the seasonal forecast or seasonal outlook for summer 2013. But before we do that, just look at the temperatures today. Generally quite cold across many parts of the country. 10 degrees there in Manchester, just 9 degrees in Birmingham, and just 8 degrees in London. So generally quite cool across many parts of the country and mainly cool conditions across many parts of the United Kingdom. But the big question is, will these cool conditions last? Will they persist into summer? The current indication is that they will do across southern parts of the country, and generally northern areas and western areas seeing the best of the conditions through the summer period. If we just look at the first model, then this is the Met Office chart for temperature. Higher pressure out to the west of the country and low pressure out to the south and east here. Generally indicative of that pattern again, low pressure out to the south and east and milder, higher pressure out to the west, or milder temperatures as well. If we go through to the ensemble mean forecast for 2 meter temperature slightly earlier on in the month, so this is the first part of the season, and you can see here that generally the theme persists, so generally quite an milder or less cold conditions out to the west and cooler conditions out to the south and also the east. The next chart is 500 HPA height, so this is height, pressure, whatever you want to call it. Weak indications here generally across parts of Europe and also Atlantic, but I think what we're going to take from this is that we'll see high pressure blocking out to the east and low pressure out to the northwest, which extrapolates to generally southwesterly winds, which will be bringing in showers or outbreaks of rain to western parts of the country. The next chart is the 2 meter temperature anomalies. This is actually the probability of a tercile categoric forecast, so perhaps here we've got the probability of above average temperatures across the country, and you can see here that the forecast of above average temperatures is higher across western parts of the country, northern and western Scotland, and lower across the east. This indicates a cooler season, perhaps in southern and eastern parts of the country, and milder conditions or less cold conditions out to northwest. So not a bad start for the Moors if you're living in the north and west. However, it is looking cooler in the south and also the east. The last one I'll be looking at today from the Met Office chart is the surface pressure chart, so pressure at the surface, and you can see here that we've got low pressure out to the west, south and west, and high pressure out to the east, which would mean perhaps some very warm incursions across the country. The Met Office model generally saying that we'll see high pressure or blocking quite dominant across the summer period. Perhaps we could see a more incursive block of warmer conditions or cool, more contrasting conditions for the first part of the summer, and then things tend to level out, but this is usually what models do anyway. And you can see here on the last chart we got the high pressure out to the east of the country. This generally means south and easterly winds, which would generally mean that southern parts of the country will be in showery conditions, and northerly parts and also the far west, I think we'll see the drier of the conditions. Now the next chart we're looking at is of course the let's have a look. It's the CFS version 2 forecast, and this is a seasonal prediction. One thing to say about the CFS before we start forecasting with the CFS is that it always gives weak signals. It's not the best of seasonal forecast models, so take it with a pinch of salt, And talking about salt, we've got some salt across many parts of southern Europe here. We've got some green colours, which indicates that we've got more precipitation across southern areas of the country, which is the bar across here at the bottom here indicates what's going on. So wetter conditions out to the south and more drier conditions out to the north here, which extrapolates to the idea of high pressure to the north. The next chart is quite further on. This is the latest forecast from the CFS, and it says a more pronounced area of low pressure out to the Mediterranean here, so quite wet conditions stretching through many parts of Portugal, Spain and also France, with dry conditions out through many parts of the country, with perhaps southern areas seeing more in terms of rainfall. Looking at the CFS version 2 forecast for 700 millibar forecast for pressure, one thing to start with the chart is that the beige colours indicate the above average pressure, and the blue bits indicate below average temperature. And also we can see here that 700 millibar, if we just got surface pressure and we've got the jet stream, 700 millibar sits somewhere in between, so this is generally a reflection of what's going on in all parts of the atmosphere away from the stratosphere, and the high pressure out to the north and east and low pressure out to the Mediterranean. So generally cool conditions out to the south, with perhaps more unsettled conditions out to many parts of the south and the western areas with a southerly tracking jet stream, quite central jet stream, sorry. And then to the north and east of the country we've got this block here, and if this block tends to come downwards, it could bring in the more settled conditions across many parts of the country. The last chart we'll be looking from the CFS version 2, the notorious CFS version 2, is the seasonal forecast for temperature anomalies going out for June, July, and also August. General theme here is for cooler conditions to the south, and perhaps more cooler conditions to the south and east of the country. But again, weak signals again from the CFS version 2 here, so I'm not going to go into that forecast quite a lot. I think the only thing we can take out of this chart is perhaps the more unsettled conditions and the cooler conditions out to the Mediterranean. And so far, it's not looking excellent if you're going for the Mediterranean through the summer period. If you're going for the Mediterranean for perhaps a summer break or something, it's not looking particularly excellent. Cooler than average conditions with also precipitation higher than normal. Looking ahead then to the other models, which the next one we're looking at is the Jamstack IOD model. And many parts of the country are bathing in the pink colours, which means it will see drier than average conditions. So the Jamstack IOD is going for quite a dry month across many parts of the country, with the driest of conditions out to the northwest of the country, with perhaps this high pressure here giving off the risk of some blocking, and high pressure again to many parts of eastern Central Europe, with us settled in the main more average conditions really, with temperatures generally situated around average precipitation. This could give people the lead to forecast quite an average month across many parts of the country, with western areas and eastern areas seeing in the more settled or perhaps of the more drier category. The next model we'll be looking at is the Beijing Climate Center model for precipitation for sea level pressure first, and generally across northern hemisphere there is quite a lot of blocking going on. So blocking there across to the north of Russia, blocking again towards parts of northern parts of England, and also to north of Scotland. This is generally indicating that we'll see some drier conditions out to the north and more unsettled conditions to the south. The next chart from the Beijing Climate Center is again the forecast for precipitation, and you can see here that we've got again wetter conditions out to the south and the drier conditions out to the north and west of Scotland and also Northern Ireland. So perhaps an indication here of a northwest-southeast split across many parts of the country. The next model we're looking at today then is the climate forecast from the Brazilian model, and the Brazilian model has a slightly different principle to it. Instead of having the oranges and the yellows indicating high pressure, it's the greens that indicate high pressure and the blues that indicate high pressure. So a slightly different principle here, and again hinting similar to the Brazilian climate center, to the Beijing climate center, in that we'll see higher pressure out to the north and west and drier conditions there, and this little anomaly here of lower pressure to the southern parts of the country could indicate again some wetter conditions to the south. So to sum everything up then, the models are saying things that will be dry across northern parts of the country, with perhaps hinting at so far from the April models that we'll see the more unsettled conditions out to the southern parts of the country, with again unsettled conditions out to the south, with quite showery conditions to the south of the country too, and high pressure out to the northwest. If you're looking for storms during summer, well, this could mean that you're quite lucky with quite a good temperature contrast across the country, good chance of some storms to compose and move up through the North Sea into the country, and also from the channel. So it's not looking bad at all if you're looking for storms. If you're looking for warm temperatures, well, I have to say it's not looking fantastically brilliant, this update today. The best of conditions generally across northern parts of the country if you're looking for a heat wave, and for to southern areas it's looking quite cool and unsettled if you are looking for a nice summer. So that's it. That's for the forecast then. I hope you enjoy watching it. You can go through to Castleman'sWeatherWatcher.com and get all the charts there. We can't get any charts there actually. You can get the charts from going to weatherweb.net. You can get the charts go into weatherweb.net, and you can also get the charts by going to weatherzentrel.d. You can go to these charts too. This is the Brazilian model. You can get all these here by going through to Google and typing in the models, whichever model you want. So thanks very much for watching this forecast. Hope you have a good weekend, and hope you have a very good week too, and bank holiday weekend.